What is up, guys? We are less than a week away from the Season 4 launch for Motorfest, and they dropped some really interesting news along with a very kind of weird Top Gear article on the Crew Motorfest. Anyways, let's go. All right, let's get into the first article, which actually came out on the Crew Motorfest website. This is the Crew Motorfest Season 4 Quality of Life Improvements. I'm just going to go through this stuff and give you my thoughts on this. I'm actually a little bit impressed with some of these things because I didn't think we would be getting certain... Anyway, let's just get into it. So the custom show improvements, they're actually creating the custom show's own page. It'll have very much like the summit you see here. You'll see a different little category for each of the weeks. It's very similar to the summit page or, you know, the main stage page. It has all the different, you know, upcoming custom shows. Now that change in itself is just a really nice quality of life change because you can go in and you can see the rewards that are for that custom show. This is something that really should have been in the game at launch, but now we have it, and I'm glad it's there because every single week we have no idea why we're entering the custom show. There's no leaderboards, there's no nothing. Well, speaking of leaderboards, there is now leaderboards for the custom show. Obviously, before you could go into the Motorfest like festival area and walk to the custom show and see who were the top 10. And now you can just go in and see the leaderboard right there on your menu. I think that's a lot better. I spend almost no time inside that festival area other than just to register a car for the custom show. I don't even go and vote for any cars unless I happen to catch that one of my friends is being featured. So anyways, there are a couple more changes with the custom show that I think is interesting. They're going to be allowing you to buy a car more seamlessly. So if you like a car that you see in the custom show, maybe you like the way it's been customized, you can interact with that car and just purchase it right there for bucks or crew credits. It just really depends on the car. They also enhance the reward flow. So besides the usual rewards that you would get for the custom show, you will also be able to view the winning car, which you wouldn't be able to do before. It was just a, you know, like a leaderboard page with like somebody's name and how many hearts they got. Now you can actually see who won and what their car looks like, which adds like a little layer of excitement. I agree with them on this because you can actually like really try to win that, and then your car gets featured and all the players that are playing the game can see it. So I really like that a lot. Now, they talk about dynamic spawn locations. So say goodbye to uniform spawn points. Now, I'm not really sure exactly how this works because they don't have any imagery to go with it, but it says characters will now spawn at different locations, bringing more life to the custom show. Now, I don't know what that means exactly, but it sounds like you're going to be physically spawning at various locations around the map, and in those locations, there will be the custom show. I don't know if that's right or wrong. It doesn't really elaborate, but I like the idea. I've been talking about how there should be some like outdoor things that you can just go to and see the custom show and have a lot larger of a custom show, more cars to walk around and, you know, check out what people have created. And I don't know, maybe that's a good idea, maybe it's not. It seems like they're sort of moving in that direction, so we'll see. Now, there's also a custom show calendar, which we just talked about. That's this thing here where you can see what the upcoming shows are all about, and you can see the rewards. So that's it for the custom show. Let's move on to the main stage. There are a few main stage changes. One is really good, and that's weekly challenges. We've had an issue, particularly with the Explorer XP, on gaining XP for the Explorer timeline. And that's the timeline you want to finish because there's always, you know, some sort of vanity or clothing item or something that you want to earn. You want to get to level 4 easily. Now, the nice thing is if the rewards are the same as what you're seeing here, let me zoom in. If the rewards are similar to this, so open 2 treasure boxes, get 40,000 XP. Now, if you open treasure boxes, you're also going to get XP. So you get 40,000 XP on top of the 20,000 or so for a purple box, 50,000 or so for a yellow box. You're automatically going to be gaining levels super fast. So 40,000 for 2 treasure boxes, 60,000 for driving 12.4 miles in free drive. That's like super easy. Just free drive around with your friends and you get 60,000. Hopefully, fingers crossed that we have free drive that's fixed. I just want to be able to free drive with my friends. Anyways, 80,000 to finish 5 different feats. That's so easy, bro. You can just fast travel around and get 80,000. Usually the levels in the main stage are only 100,000 XP. Now, hopefully they don't change that. But if they are, this is an easy max Explorer timeline if you just complete your 3 challenges every single week. So I actually really like this. And of course, there's challenges for the compete against other drivers and the revisit the playlist type sections. There's, you know, various challenges. And of course, it's 40, 60, and 80,000 XP on all of those. So you're you're getting almost 200,000 XP, especially when you consider the XP that you're going to be getting from those events as well. So you're looking at like 200,000 XP per category per week. So that's 6 levels per week. That's great. That's awesome. You can max out these things every single month. This is great. I really like this edition. It gives players just a little bit more something to do that is a little bit different every time. So I'm all about it. Now, we do have leaderboards on the main stage legacy as well. It'll feature those leaderboards and it'll let you see how you're doing against the competition. And we've always had leaderboards for the regular main stage, but for main stage legacy now, there's leaderboards for those individual races. And that's actually pretty cool because those are older races that appeared in summits. And now you can have like your best time shown on that summit event. So I like that a lot. Now let's talk about grand race improvements. Now there's not a lot here that we can talk about because it doesn't detail super in-depth changes to the grand races, but I'm telling you right now, based on that article that they did with Top Gear, they're gonna go hard on grand races for year 2. And I think it starts with a couple of quality life improvements. And what we have right now is, if you can see, we'll zoom into this, it tells you what the classes are on the grand race starting tile here. When you go to register, you can see what grand race routes are being run. You no longer have to reference any lists or any Discord servers or whatever to figure out which one it is, or you don't have to look for it on the map and highlight it and go, okay, now it's Street 1 Rally Raid Street Tier 2. We have it right there on the tile, which is a great quality of life improvement. I'm glad it's there. If we go past that, we're looking at an improved reward flow. So reward notifications have been tweaked to be more understandable, so you always know what you've earned. I'm not sure that the reward flow was very confusing with grand races. Maybe it'll show you the parts that you earned, like the actual parts and what category they're for, as opposed to, you know, just simple like part like icons that are really not relative to what you actually earned. So I'm not really sure what that means exactly, but it says they've improved it. Fine. It's not, and to me, it wasn't a big deal. So anyway, let's move on. Now, difficulty changes. I don't think they changed anything specifically with the difficulty, meaning it's not any more difficult or less difficult depending on what difficulty setting you have. What they did was allow you to see what your difficulty is. So if you look here in the top left of the screen, event difficulty 3 out of 5. So it's telling you that you have your setting set to 3 out of 5 on your difficulty. If we scroll down, when you're loading into the summit event, it tells you right there in the middle what difficulty you're on, so that you know, hey, I don't like the way the AI is acting here, or, you know, this start is a little bit too difficult to get to that first checkpoint, or whatever the case is. You know now what the difficulty is. It's a good quality of life change, nothing big, nothing major. In addition to that, the summit difficulty, you can now change that in the middle of the event, which is great, because you have to go back from different loading screens and then go and change your difficulty because you don't really like the way the AI is acting. It's just annoying, right? So now you can change it middle of the event. But if you do that in the middle of the event, it's just going to start the event over. So you can't, like, you know, change the difficulty for certain sections of the race. That doesn't work. You have to change it and then start the event over, which makes sense. Anyways, they're going to be adding new customization options. Dashboard dolls. You can now add dashboard dolls to personalize your car's interior. To be honest, I don't care at all about dashboard dolls. How are you going to see them? If you got any type of tint on your windows, are you actually going to see the dashboards? The only people who are going to see these dashboards are people that play in cockpit view. I don't think anyone seriously plays in cockpit view, maybe a few players. And if you're out there and you're like, I play in cockpit view, I'm like, okay, sorry, I'm not trying to offend you. That's great. I actually really like cockpit view. It's just not something that I'm going to race competitively on. Like, I'm going to be racing in all the grand races in the regular, like, backed out far camera. I'm not going to be inside the car unless I'm just trolling or streaming or having fun. That's different. But dashboard dolls are like, why? I don't know. It's whatever. They've also added some rooftop vanities. Some of the rooftop vanities physics have been tweaked to make sure that they behave the way we intended. So that's not like an upgrade. That's really just, they made it to where they actually do what they thought they were going to do. So that's great. It actually does mean too that some rooftop vanities will have some movement to it, which is nice. Now, lastly, before we get into the Top Gear article, they improved the car snapshot load times. Now, the snapshot is the tiny little picture of the car when you're looking through your inventory. They've improved the loading times for those thumbnails so that you can, you know, search through and find the car that you're looking for faster. This was really only an issue when you're in the grand races and you're like trying to find a specific car and you're like, man, I gotta wait for this car to load before I know what it is, that type of thing. So I don't know, for me, it's fine. It's a great quality of life thing, good to throw in there. I'm glad they're doing it, but there are other things that we want. And obviously we want to know what's going on with that second island. They didn't talk about the second island at all. Let's move on to the Top Gear article. So this article came out today on the Top Gear website. Crew Motorfest, Ubisoft tells us what's coming in year 2. Well, they don't really detail anything super new, except grand races will be cross island. There will be cross island routes on the grand races, and that means we might have boats in grand races. I don't know if I like that or not. I'm okay with it though. Honestly, I'm good. It's gonna mix up the game, and I think it's gonna be fun. And I don't know, man. I'm kind of a little bit speechless on that. Anyways, in the article, that's really the only thing that's worth talking about. I read the entire thing, and I'm telling you, you don't need to read this. That's the biggest piece of news. Now, obviously, they announced Chase Squad, and they announced New Island, blah, blah, blah. All right, now, to be fair, no one from Ubisoft or IVT confirmed that the grand races will be island to island, but this article, the person writing it is hinting at it like crazy. Like, look, it says right here, Maui will join Oahu, expanding total real estate considerably, and whisper it, we might even get to drive grand races that transition from one island to another. So obviously a hint there. Then he talks to Julian Hummer, which is one of the devs. He says, we're delivering this expansion without any loading. So you can drive from Oahu to Maui. It's connected with a bridge. You can fly towards it. You can use a boat or drive with your car, your bike, whatever you want. It's connected. So there is no loading, which means grand races from one island to the other is absolutely possible. You can start a grand race route on one island, transition with a boat or a plane, or potentially the bridge, and then finish it on the other island. I'm actually pumped on that. Now, he doesn't confirm it like I said, but he does say Hummer doesn't get into the nitty-gritty of how this space will be used, but mentions new biomes, weather, and that'll broaden the palette beyond Oahu's tropical idols. And given what a huge part of the experience grand races turned out to be, we've got everything crossed that we'll see an epic pan-island routes in that mode. So obviously he spoke with this guy outside this article, and he gets the feeling that we will see grand races. I personally feel like this confirms it, but it isn't an official confirmation. Anyways, there's one last thing in this article that I thought was actually pretty interesting, and it's that they internally didn't see the grand races as being as popular as it is. They've had to sort of change their plans in year 1 slightly because it was all planned out from the beginning. Year 1 was completely planned from the beginning on what type of content, what updates they were going to do, and what modes they were going to be adding to the game. Mostly it was all playlists, and that's why we've seen nothing but playlists. But it says right here, to be totally honest, it was a little surprising for a lot of people internally because on the PvP side, we have the data showing that it's more successful than what we did previously with the Crew 1 and 2. With all of that feedback, we knew that we were doing something that was refreshing. So that's after the game launched, but it was very surprising to them. They had no idea grand races were going to be a good thing. And that's weird to me because, like, how did you guys not know this was going to be popular? It's the only arcade racing game where you can have 28 players racing each other on the same map with no loading, and you switch different classes in the middle of the race and it goes across the... Guys, this is so unique. It's something that you just don't have anywhere else, and I'm super surprised that they were surprised. Anyways, the fact that they now know that it's popular and they have the data over this first year, I think year 2 is going to be more exciting. I think they're going to add more stuff to the grand races, and that's actually a good thing. We might have to wait a little while, but it's going to be something that they focus on going forward, and I think PvP will get some attention. I'm just wondering that because they have so much data on the grand races, are they going to consider adding new PvP modes? Because grand racing is definitely not for everyone, and I think the data that they've got is a little bit skewed because it is literally the only thing to do in the game once you've finished your playlist. Like, players are not just going into the game to just replay playlists over and over again. Now granted, some do, but the majority of players are in there to try to race other people in grand race because it's the only thing to do. So the data is pointing that direction. It's telling them, hey, people are playing this, they really, really like it. Well, that's kind of misleading because it is the only thing to do. Demolition Royale is like completely dead. I really, like, they can just remove it from the game. It won't be an issue. I would love to see that gone and have some other PvP mode entered. It doesn't have to be anything groundbreaking, just needs to be like 8-player class-based racing on the playlist races that we already have. It doesn't have to be anything new. Just get us some matchmaking and put us together. Let us race class-based racing. That's it. Anyways, that's it for these 2 articles. I really appreciate you guys watching. I'm a little bit more excited after seeing this stuff, and I'll have some more videos coming out either this weekend, depending on what type of information they drop, and for sure coming this week after the embargo's up on the early access stuff. I'm excited to share some stuff with you guys, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.